Ready to Work, the podcast with success secrets for the young tech professional. Hello, I am Brij Sethi, and this is the Ready to Work podcast. Today's episode is for young professionals who are interested in managing their money wisely. What is monthly budgeting and how to do it? Using your credit card wisely, whether to take a bank loan for higher studies. If you have started earning recently, then some tips from an expert can help. Jitendra Chopra is a practicing chartered accountant at JK Chopra and Associates. He also advises to MJ Finworks, a financial services company. Today, Jitendra is an active member in JCI Bangalore Garden City, a youth empowerment organization, and Jan International Trade Organization. Welcome to the episode, Jitendra.
Thank you, sir.
Jitendra, in today's consumption driven economy, ideas like saving, budgeting, and investing are considered little bit old school. If you are young and in your 20s, then after you have met your family obligations, you still have unmet desires.
True.
Enter consumption economy. The problem is you wake up one day in your late 20s or early 30s and realize you have zero savings. Jitendra, what are your thoughts on managing funds?
I can say that the way you manage your time, the similar way you need to manage your funds. Everyone earns salary, but how do you utilize that earned money is very, very crucial. Time once lost is lost forever. Money once spent is over. You cannot recycle the wasted time or money. If money is being spent unwisely, we fall into the trap of debts, not saving anything, and not meeting our financial obligations. In case of a person who would say something like early 20s, if we are able to manage the funds in a very disciplined manner, automatically things are in place.
Every month, I get some money in my pocket, in my salary account. Now, what do I do? How do I look at that money and decide, okay, this is how I'm going to do my monthly budgeting?
So I need to consider my entire family into it. Now, if I'm staying alone, I am the family. If I'm married, definitely me and my spouse. Most of the budgets fail because people don't involve them into the budget planning.
Many times, where what happens in conversations with money is that people become defensive. So while you are talking money and the other person thinks that this is not a money talk but a blame game where the other person is being told that they have done a wrong job, but it is being subtly used as a budgeting exercise. One has to watch out for that. Is it not so?
Very, very true. I think it is a very sensitive topic, and there is no sync, and the entire budget goes haywire. We know our income is fixed, very clear, that number is there. Now, coming down to our expenses part, we can further categorize that into, needs, our wants, savings, and definitely emergencies. Needs is something which is very, very, essential, which cannot be avoided. It could be our house rent, it would be my daily food consumption expenses, it could be my mobile bill, the internet, the electricity bill, all these kind of things, which falls into the need category. Now, looking at the want is something, it's a very sweet expense which there is a desire which I want to really meet. It could be my procuring the latest iPhone, which can be avoided, but there is some desire to still have it. Then coming down to savings is definitely planning for a future goal and early retirement. And emergency is something which nobody can control, and if it happens, we should be prepared for it. It could be by just taking a good medical health insurance regularly, paying your insurance premium, so that if any unforeseen thing happens to you or your family members, you're taken care of. So the entire budget falls into these four categories of need, want, savings, and emergency. Normally what happens is when the salaries in the initial year it is low, normally we keep a higher ratio towards our needs, because almost paying the rent, paying my electricity bill, paying all this thing is taken care, and you see that then 50 to 60% of your money is being spent on that purpose. So the ratio at the initial stage could be around, say, 60% for your needs, 20% for your wants, 10% for savings, and 10% for emergency. There should be some portion of the money so that you're taking care of your wants, today's wants, not future wants. I'm talking about. Other thing is knowing whether this want fits into the kitty of the ratio or the amount which we have planned to keep it aside. If it is not fitting into that, I will compromise on savings and emergency fund, which is a clear cut no.
Very nice. So, Jitendra, does the saving pattern and how you save change as you become older?
I would just explain this entire thing just by an example. If a person just invests 1,000 rupees per month and keeps increasing investment by say 25% every year for a period of 20 years, totally his investment would be around say 41.15 lakhs with an approximately rate of return of 15%, because when the tenure is so high, it is always better to invest your funds in a risky fund when the tenure is high, because you will definitely get higher gains. 15% is the lowest which I'm talking about. You'll land up getting around 91 lakh rupees. So that's a good amount. Coming to a fact that at 30s, I need to do the same thing. I have the same tenure of 10 years now. Why? Because my 10 years is lost. I have the same requirement of 91 lakhs. Now, how much amount I need to invest so that I get this return? If you listen to the number, it will be really, scary to an extent. 20s, he started with 1,000 rupees. At 30s, you will have to start investing 10,300 rupees approximately.
Wow. So, what you are saying is that if you are starting in your 20s and you start with 1000 rupees a month, you will eventually save the same amount as what you would save if you started in your 30s with 10,000 and chiller.
Yes, absolutely. This is the power of compounding, sir. At 20s, I can easily save 1,000 rupees. It is not something which I'm asking him to, remove a large chunk of money from his earnings. I could say a period of around 3 to 4 years after that, when your salary starts increasing, the ratio should move towards 40 for needs, 20 for your wants, 30 for savings, and 10 for emergency.
Very nice. Just like to do time management well, you need to have self
Yes.
discipline. Here also, to do good money management, you need self discipline.
Discipline is the key for anything. And I feel that if you need to be successful, discipline is the only key. It could be any aspect. It could be money management, it could be your education, it could be your business, whatever you take.
Very nice. I think it's a very valuable way of looking. Jitendra, imagine a youngster has just started earning and is walking around in a mall.
Okay.
Okay, there are so many temptations around. How should one think about making these kind of purchases on the credit card?
Credit card rate of interest varies from 3 to 4%, and per month I'm talking about. It is not per annum. 3 to 4% per month.
So 3% per a month is actually
Yes, 36% per annum. If I want to take an iPhone which is costing around say 1.2 lakh rupees, taking the tenure of 12 months, I'll end up paying approximately 27,000 worth of interest with a GST of 5,000 rupees. So that is around 32,000 rupees, which is not advisable. Definitely, there are a lot of offers going on in terms of when you see there is a free EMI, there is no interest charges. Those benefits, when it's available, definitely can be taken, but not at the cost of paying the interest.
what I hear you saying is that even if it is interest free EMI, you should evaluate it against the available funds in the wants
Yes,
section of your budget
yes,
that you have drawn for yourself, and you have to still leave space for other wants because you cannot survive on just an iPhone for the rest of the month.
true, very true, very true.
On the other hand, if you are paying for the phone or for anything else with your credit card and it is not an interest free EMI, then you can end up paying a significant amount of money just for the interest part, apart from the basic value that for which you are purchasing.
Yes, this practice I follow. I keep my desire living within me for say around 14 days to 15 days. And still, if I have that urge, go for it, provided you meet the criteria of our bond section ratio, which is there.
Very nice. I think it's a very valuable way of looking that don't just go for it immediately. At least think about it for a week before you spend that money.
Very true. Very true.
Jitendra, I am of the view that a credit card can be a big convenience and a very helpful thing sometimes when you really need the money and you don't have immediate cash on hand.
We are taking care with our medical insurance. We have taken all we have done all our precautionary measures. Everything is there, but sometimes still some things go beyond our control. During that time, this additional benefit in terms of our excess credit limits, which is there, may come in handy.
So it's not all bad, but it's not all good either.
True.
And how can I use the credit card in such a way that I am benefited and not not really the credit card company. Can you give some ideas?
Very, very much, sir. In fact, there are so many ways in which we can, use your credit card if you use it in a very disciplined manner, making the most use of the credit cycle available with them. They normally 45 to 50 days they give the credit cycle. So plan your purchases in such a way that you finish that on the beginning itself. Something like your fixed expenses which are there, where you see that my mobile, it could be mobile, electricity bill, your house rent. Nowadays we get options available for even paying house rent through credit card. There are options available to buy your groceries, which is there. See to that your purchases are done much early stage of your billing cycle, so that you enjoy that entire tenure of 40, 45 days or 50 days of credit period. You know what is the fixed amount which you're going to spend. Take that amount, keep it in an FD of 40, 45 days. Have a small interest earned for where you get around 2 to 3% per annum interest. It could be very penny for 1 month, but when you look at the year end, you will actually tell that, oh, it was a good valuable amount of 5, 6,000 rupees you would have saved. Other advantages which is available in case of credit card could be the reward section, which is there with most of the credit card gives that key, spend money and you get some reward points. There are certain other advantages which I can say, like it improves your credit rating, your CIBIL rating, which is effectively again going to be useful when in future when you want to take your, it could be your car loan or a housing loan. Your banks normally go back and see this, and when they see that if the CIBIL rating and everything is good, or you automatically, the this one process of getting loan is much easier. One discipline to be maintained to see to it that key pay the credit card bills on time. That is very, very crucial. I think tying that up with your auto pay with your SB account is also very easy. I used to initially forget my my repayments, and all of a sudden I realized a day or two later, then you land up paying huge interest cost and the penalty charges. So there's no point doing that.
So prompt payments not only improve the rating, but they also reduce the amount of interest you
Okay.
can end up paying.
Yes,
It also keeps your budgeting in check.
very true.
Jitendra, our next topic is loans.
Okay.
So let us say that we have a young professional and she has been working for a few years now, and now she wants to study abroad. What is the best way to fund it?
So frankly speaking, I'm not that a great fan for taking education loan and pursuing higher studies. That education with the loan, it doesn't sink in my mind. Why? Because I feel that normally the higher education, if you look about going abroad and studying, the cost is very, very high. Something around, it varies from 35 to 50 lakhs. It might go even beyond that. Sometimes it goes to 70, 75 lakh. Now question is, how have we taken this loan, keeping what in mind, as to do we have the capability of repaying it, or is it something like, okay, we have taken it because it is available? Because definitely education loan is much, much easier compared to any other loan which we have in our Indian market. Now after doing my graduation, if I don't get an assurity of my placement, how do I repay back this loan? I say going completely to 100% loan on an education, I don't suggest. But definitely combination of your savings, parents savings and loan could be possible.
If you think that your life will become rosier because you have changed your circumstances with a loan and then further education, but it is all a thought in your head and it is not verified, it is not validated, then you are taking a huge risk. And while the reality may or may not play out, the pressure to return the money can actually force you to sometimes make choices which may be suboptimal. You may end up taking a job that you don't like just because you are now under pressure to return the loan.
Very, very true, sir.
There are different creative ways of also exploring how, in absence of actual funds, you can still fund your education.
True.
You sometimes work experience and education are also replaceable by each other,
Yes.
and any chartered accountant will tell you that as well.
Very, very true, sir. Rightly said.
I so much agree with you that we are under constant bombardment to part with our money.
Yes.
Watch out, be careful, exercise self discipline, don't get into impulse purchasing, come back after a week. And while it is very important to do monthly budgeting and it is important to use the credit card well, Jitendra also said in the beginning that do not give up on your wants and give a compartment to your wants and keep honoring them without letting them grow bigger than what the reality should be. And I think that is the key, balancing between needs and wants and sticking to whatever is the intention of your discipline.
Very true, sir. Finally, the key is discipline. Everything boils down to that.
So, thank you very much. It's really been nice talking to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this opportunity. It was a pleasure talking to you.
If you like this podcast, do subscribe to our weekly episodes. Please also visit www.readytowork.in for more insights on career readiness. I'm your host, Brij Sethi, and this is the Ready to Work podcast, the podcast with success secrets for the young tech professional.